All of our esteemed panelists a chance to introduce themselves and just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do and how you came to be here. And then just like last time, I'm going to open it up to all of you guys.
Starting with me. My name is Kalimah Priforce, and I'm the founder of Careersters, which is a career matchmaking for kids. So when a kid Googles firefighter or astronaut, that there's a place where they can go to find out all the career possibilities that are available to them. Because that's what that's the message: is every career possibility is available to them. And so that's what we do that through video-based social gaming. And so that's what I do, and I'm here invited by Rob here, and yeah, so I'm happy to be here. So happy to help out.
My name's Julia. I was a 4th grade teacher in Alum Rock, and then was Madeline's PD for 2 years. And then I went to grad school, thinking that I wanted to do district leadership. But during my first quarter in grad school, I had a conversation with a classmate who asked me how I thought technology could reform education. And I got really, really excited about this question and intrigued by it, and shifted a lot of my coursework, my summer internship, and then ultimately my career towards trying to think about it or solve that. I am currently working at Google on their education apps team. And what we do is we give away Google Apps to schools and districts.
I'm Matt Pasternak. I'm starting a new venture called Goalpost, and the sort of very quick story is when I was in New York City, '04. And when I taught, my first year was very difficult, as for many folks. My second year was a lot better, but I put all of my energy into lesson planning, and I worked around the clock. And my kids made a year of growth, but it wasn't it did not seem like enough growth for the amount of time that I put into it. And then my third year, I basically did not focus on lesson planning nearly as much, and was just tracking my kids and just sort of reporting their progress back to them, calling parents when they weren't doing their reading. It was just focused on reading, just focused on tracking progress, and my kids made significant gains. And almost everything that I had done sort of could have just been done by a system or a machine. It was just tracking progress. And I said, if that stuff could have been done by a machine, just the literally tracking page numbers and calling parents and stuff when kids weren't reading, what could I have done as a teacher? We could have gotten 3 years of growth. We could have gotten absolutely transformative growth. And I thought that was pretty amazing. So I ended up doing some other projects in New York after that, but I'm currently working on sort of a student motivation platform that initially focusing on reading, but the emphasis is basically on giving kids a way to sort of track this progress, rapidly share it with teachers and students and parents, and make it really fun, and get them just invested in their own growth, to allow the teacher to do other things.
I have a question for all three of you, actually. I feel like kind of an ongoing theme in a lot of these conversations is about bringing new ideas into a system that doesn't necessarily always greet new ideas, and I feel like especially in the kind of work that you guys are doing, you're pushing on existing systems in ways that we currently do stuff. How have you guys found it successful when either trying to bring on a new partner, or working with a new district, or getting just a teacher to adopt your thing? What does it take to convince them that yeah, you should be on board with what I'm talking about?
So I spend a lot of time trying to convince states and districts to go Google. And for me, for what I'm doing, the biggest things are, which is somewhat unique to it, cost savings. Yeah. So especially right now with the budget, with all of the budget crisis, schools will want a cheaper solution. So that's one thing. But then it needs to work. I think that if teachers see that what you're offering them works almost immediately, then they'll start switching. And if they need extensive training in order to make it work, the product won't spread. But so teachers need to be able to see it work.
I would add to that. I think that I was not sort of networked as a teacher when I was teaching. I didn't really read blogs of other teachers who were trying out new things. I knew some fantastic teachers and spent all my time in their classrooms just watching what they did and trying to incorporate their best practices, and that was really cool. But I saw a tiny little sliver of what was going on, and I think that just with the different innovations that are coming out and different things people are doing and different things that you guys might want to join and participate in and create at some point. being tapped into just networks of folks, like who is doing innovative stuff. It could be something as simple, just one very simple example. There's a guy, Dan Meyer. He blogs under the name DY/DAN. And he's now actually at Stanford at school, but he was teaching for a number of years and was just doing incredible stuff in math. I mean, just rethinking. He was sort of rethinking the way you teach math in some really exciting ways, and had this huge following just in the base of his blog. You know, people just read it, write comments, like have this whole conversation going. I think there are lots of examples of that sort of stuff happening. And then when new things come out, it's like much easier to tap in and know what's going on. You're not dependent on your district or your PD or someone to let you know about interesting things.
So I always say that the story of Careersters, it doesn't begin in the Harvard dorm room. You know, the story of Careersters begins, right behind my old elementary school where my 18-year-old brother was shot and killed. And at the time, I was in international law, and I saw myself going to the UN, and just maybe spend some time in South Africa, just having fun, and then when he died, the amount of people, young people that came to the hospital, I thought to myself, I said, why are all the smart people, why are all the brainy people in medicine and engineering? And, of course they pay, yeah. But, I mean, this is a national security issue. I mean, we can spend so much money on defense, but we're defending, a nation that's getting dumber. And, and that's why I said, my brains need to be going towards education and creating some sort of impact in education, sort of outside the box. Because apparently, our old elementary school couldn't prevent that from happening for him and the kid who died the next day, the kid who died the next day. Because literally, kids being killed every day. And so I think that for any entrepreneur, you think about, well, where's your product coming from? It's not like Monsanto or whatever, where you say, okay, well, here's the food that you're selling to people, eat it. Like a good entrepreneur, a good business person creates a product that they would use. It's a product that they would eat. It's a product that they would sell. And so I think about that. I think about, developing Careersters. Is it something that low-income kids can use, that underserved kids can use, that the kid who's from the slum in the Bronx is using it, as well as the kid who's only known the farm outside of Topeka, and I think that's how you connect. You connect to the community because the community can see the problems, and then they can and they're fascinated by solutions because sometimes there are things that they already thought of. I'm like, well, you already thought of Careersters. I decided to just go with it. You just tell them go is in Google, so they should go Google. And so you kind of like let them know, hey, look, I'm just going with it, and I think that's how I'm able to create the partnerships and create the friendships in this work. Build something that people actually need.